Hi, in a recent video I upgraded a modern laptop's SSD and RAM. In this video we're looking at an older laptop and changing its hard drive for a solid state drive. It's an Asus 5501A, it's an i3 CPO, and it was published in about 2013-14. Now this process will demonstrate what happens on the laptop, but just make sure you actually see the cautionary advice at the end of this video and proceed at your own discretion. So in the earlier video we looked at 10 steps, I should say 7. Assess which components to upgrade, prepare the upgrade, replace the components, reinstall Windows 10, apply security updates, check the upgrade is successful, and also do some troubleshooting. You can refer to that video, link above, but in this one we are looking at just steps 3 and 7, replacing the components and troubleshooting. First thing is to take your laptop and remove all the screws from the back. You may have to remove the battery because there may be screws under there as well. And it's a good thing to keep them separated and together so you don't lose any of them. They're fiddly little things. Next thing, on this particular laptop, the keyboard lifts from above. So using a card softly and very, very gently with a screwdriver, prise, declip the keyboard from the actual case itself. And when it's loose, again being very careful, lift up the cable and you'll see the cables underneath that connect the keyboard to the PC. So in this particular case, it's just a simple matter of lifting up these holders and pulling out the ribbon cables. Should be fairly firm, and a good little safe tug should be good enough. Here's a fiddly to put back in, as you'll see a bit later on. Once we've actually got those two ribbon cables disconnected, we can look at the currently installed hard disk drive. There's a cable which is running over this one that we'll have to disconnect in a similar fashion. So in the same way, use that blue tag to pull it out, and you may have to fold it underneath the keyboard. There are 2 screws holding the disk drive in this particular case here. Undo them both to free the actual cage for the disk drive and push to disconnect it from the laptop. You may need to actually move pieces of tape or the like, and obviously be very, very careful in here. Try to touch as few things as possible and keep anything that you see inside for later use, because generally speaking it's there for a reason. So lifting out the old hard disk drive, you can actually see here it's with the new one on the new drive is on top. And we'll move the laptop to one side. Now because the actual hard disk drive is actually in a tray, then we need to actually undo the 4 screws here. So there's 2 on one side. Make sure we don't lose these. And then 2 on the other side as well. And when we're finished, we should have the 4 screws. Then the hard disk drive should actually slide out of the cage very nicely. Just note which orientation it is. You'll see that silver rectangle at one end. That's where the connectors go. So taking your new solid state drive, make sure the connectors are the same end, install it into the tray, and make sure the screw holes are lined up, and then put the 4 screws back in. Like magic, there it's done. Now putting the tray back in, you need to place it in. It's pretty much a reversal of the same process, but be very careful. Use a screwdriver and your fingers to make sure you slide it in and you connect it properly inside the laptop. So give it a good firm push just to make sure it's settled in nicely. And of course, as with such things, you'll end up with 1 or 2 screws inside, so tip it upside down, make sure there's nothing left inside, and put those screws back in to secure the tray. Do a little bit of cleaning if you want to inside, and then reconnect this cable that goes over the hard drive, now the SSD. And put the tape back over this wire here to make sure it doesn't get pinched. And then reintroduce the keyboard very carefully in the same way. Connect the 2 ribbon cables. Now I'm upgrading this hard drive because it was being thrashed inside the machine. I couldn't get it to perform any better. and I actually found there was a significant improvement by replacing it with the SSD. So once those ribbon cables are neatly installed, screw up the laptop and bring up your computer again. Remember, you have to do steps 4, 5 and 6 to get the computer operating on the new SSD. And good luck with that. It worked well for me. If you have any troubles, then try making sure that you've seated the SSD properly. Make sure those cables are all connected correctly. And if you need to, put your hard drive back in and bring up your computer that way. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you can. And don't forget to watch these little cautionary messages. Enjoy.